Vanakkam. Thank you very much for the introduction, Devi. At the age of 67, it's not food and car, it's only car. It's my honor and privilege to be here this afternoon. I don't know what I'm doing here among great businessmen. It's my pleasure to be here though. And I don't know whether I'll be able to convey something which will promote your business, but I will try. I've been living here for about 6 years, but thanks to my son, I find myself sitting here. And thanks to all your prayers, he's fit, fine, safe in our country. When Abhinandan returned to India, he got a hero's welcome. My wife and I decided that we are parents, yes, ownership, no. He belongs to the country. And he's the son of every Indian mother. So, thanks to him, I go to many functions like one of these. And I always start with saying that when I was in Bangalore, my son was just 3 years old, I had a black Labrador. I used to take him around for a walk. So anyone wanted to find my house, they used to say, "Wo kala kutta ka ghar kidhar hai?" So they used to land up in my house. But now things are different. Vinkamana Abhinandan ka dad kidhar hai? So they find my house. Right. What I will talk about is the national spirit and the aspirations of our nation. And it's nice to talk in this group of people, basically because the automobile industry is one of the pearls or the crown jewels of our country. And everyone has talked about what we will be in 2025, and in 2030 we'll be dominating the world. It is something that we can be very proud of. There are many other things that we can be proud of, and there are many others we wish we can be proud of. And that's what I thought I'd talk a little bit about it. In the aspirations that we are talking about in our country today, we got a new government, got a passion for this nation. And all of us have voted, almost 40-50% of us have voted in favor of this government with the hope that they will make this vibrant nation the best in the world. So let us pray that we reach and achieve our destiny which we richly deserve. Now, I'll just, can I operate this? Slide. Black, hi. For saying this, we need to go back to, do I have about 20 minutes or 20 minutes? Huh? Okay, then I would like to give that story. Yeah, since I'm the oldest guy here, I have a right to tell old stories. Okay. So, way back in the 1960s, I was born near Kanchipuram. We didn't have sugar. We used to wait for ration to come. And you know where the ration used to come from? The United States of America. It was something called the PL 480 program. Many of you will know about it. And we waited for the ship to arrive in the Madras harbor, offload the rice and the wheat and the sugar, so that we can have a filter coffee with sugar instead of jaggery. So that's how our nation has grown. I'm talking of 60s. Then we went through the war in 62 and then the 71. After the 62 war, we were down in the dumps. Not only we had lost the war, we were a poor country. And when we were in the dumps, at that time, our Prime Minister, Lal Bahadur Shastri, a small little man, but a dynamo of a leader. And he said all adults in this country miss one meal in a week. And that food that is saved will bring food to many who are in hunger. So I was in Sainik School, Amravati Nagar at that time. All the teachers used to miss the dinner on Monday evening. We guys used to eat. But it got into our mind that this is what the nation can do. If the nation gets together, it can achieve anything. And I saw it when Abhinandan was across the border. How a nation can be united with one thought. And I will tell you about what a movement or just the prayers of 1 billion people can make things happen. It happened in the case of Abhinandan. I need to show this, how our country has grown up. I know all of you are automobile guys and you know what this is. Okay. In 1974, when I joined the Air Force, I booked a scooter. The first thing everybody did was book a scooter in the CSD canteen. So I booked it. It came 11 years later. Okay. And it came in a horrible color. It was scratched on one side. And I went to the canteen to pick up and he said, take this or you wait another 10 years. Okay. So, like one of the gentlemen said, that it's a buyer's market. You have to market, and there is so much of choice for the customer. And those days of when you just waited for a decade for a Bajaj scooter is over. I'm sorry. Okay. So, Mahatma Gandhi said that a small body of determined spirits, fired by an unquenchable faith in their mission can alter the course of history. How true it is. And you can take it to your organizations and pursue it. And in any walk of life, leadership is the key. If you can lead well, you can visualize and you can put your ambitions and you can achieve them. So leadership is the art of getting someone else to do something you want done because he wants to do it. That's what leadership is. Now, are leaders born? I don't think so. And so many say no. So all of us have the capability in us. It only needs to be nurtured, developed, progressed, and continuously upgraded to become leaders. And that's what Sam Manekshaw said. Give me a man or a woman with common sense and who's not an idiot. And I assure you, you can make a leader of him or her. Now, in the military, there are certain dictums that we follow. And this dictum is so very important for our country. And if everybody applies this particular dictum, we can achieve what we want. And I'll just first read it out and then I will explain. The safety, honor, and welfare of our country come first, always and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command come next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety come last, always and every time. And this is what Field Marshal Chetwood spoke in his inauguration of the Indian Military Academy in Dehradun in 1932. So, if everybody puts the nation first, he says, whatever I do, I work for my company, I work for my agency, whatever it is, put my nation first. The people you head come second, and put your own ease and comfort last. You can never go wrong. And when many of you must be traveling worldwide, and you see how many nations do, the citizens of those nations live, they always put the nation first. And here, if you can do it, in our country, if you can do it, we can achieve anything. And every time when there was the political debates about during the elections and before the elections, okay, everybody said, okay, Swachh Bharat, Swachh Bharat. As if Modi is going to come and do everything. We need to do it ourselves. There can be a leader, and we are convinced on his leadership abilities, and we are convinced where he is taking us to do, wanting us to take us, we can all put our head together and go there. And all of us to have to play a part so that we put the nation first. Now, I talked about Abhinandan coming back within 60 hours. 60 hours, he was back in India. It's unbelievable. You'll be surprised to know that from the 1971 war, that is almost 40 or 50 years ago, 1971 war, some of our POWs, almost 111, have yet to come back to this country. And perhaps they've all passed away in jails, waiting to come back to the motherland. But this guy came within 60 hours back. And that's what unitedly a nation praying together can achieve. Now, during the Second World War, the Normandy landing happened, and the Allied forces were charging across France and Belgium towards capturing Germany and Hitler. And the Third Army was being led by General Patton. He was one of the finest generals the Americans had produced. And when he was charging along, his Third Army, almost 100,000 troops, with thousands of tanks and heavy artillery guns, it started to rain. And when it started to rain, it rained for 10 continuous days, and the tanks just sank in the slush and mud. The artillery could not move. 100,000 troops were stuck. And 10 days passed. And these 10 days were vital because it was giving the breather to the German army to regroup. And they knew every day mattered because the German army was regrouping and getting ready to stop the thrust of the Allied forces. And at that time, General Patton said, let's go to the Lord. And he said, my 100,000, he called his priest. As you all know, the army, there's always a priest embedded in the troops which is moving forward. He called the priest and he said, write down a prayer. And at 7 o'clock that evening, my 100,000 troops will say that prayer. And let us see what happens tomorrow. So at 7 o'clock that evening, this was the prayer. The 100,000 troops said this prayer together. And next morning it was bright sunshine. And the Third Army of General Patton charged towards Berlin and they defeated Germany. And this is what a group or a passion together can achieve anything. When my wife was telling that on the second day when Abhi was in Pakistan, she said, I can't go to the temple, I have no time to say the prayer because people were coming in and out of our house, my phones just didn't stop ringing. And at that time, one of the persons said, why are you praying? There's 1 billion people praying for you. You don't need to pray. That's exactly what General Patton did too. So if all of us got together, thought about one particular thing, nothing is impossible. We can achieve. Dreams, and when I go to schools I use this, but I find it so relevant to everyone. And it is, of course, our Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He says you have to dream before you can, your dreams come true. And this is what he said, and it's so very true. Dream is not what you see in sleep. Dream is something which doesn't let you sleep. And if you don't build your dream, someone else will hire you to help them build theirs. And this is what the late Ambani said. Now, where are we as a nation today? Balakot. You see, when we talk of national security, you have to be confident that I can achieve my ambitions as a businessman, achieve and build the industry, and be the best in the world in 2025, 2030, without a fear that you are secure. You are secure and there is nothing which is going to come in your way. Your children will go to school, there will be enough health facilities, and whatever this nation wants to do, travel around the globe and achieve whatever you want, you will be secure. For that, you have to have a good military, and When called upon, the military has to achieve what it is supposed to. And that's what happened in Balakot. And you all know what happened in Balakot when almost the government of India tied the Indian Air Force's hands behind and said that go and strike Balakot, but do not touch a single Pakistani civilian. Do not touch a single Pakistani military soldier. No collateral damage. But hit only the terrorists who are going to come and kill us. Because they had done it in Pulwama, where they killed 40 of our brave soldiers. And this was the directions to the Indian Air Force. So we went about planning meticulously so that we go and hit only Balakot, we hit only the terrorists, we do not destroy the infrastructure, but make sure all the terrorists who are inside are dead. Because those guys are planning to come and kill us. Before they kill us, we kill them. And we did it very perfectly, executed it to the precision. And when the Foreign Secretary came out and made a statement the next morning, and he said that the Indian Air Force had carried out a preemptive strike against terrorist targets who were planning to harm our nation. And every nation in the world supported the right to defend yourself. Not one called it as an invasion of a foreign neighbor. But suppose we had hit a military guy or hit a Pakistani civilian, then it's an act of war. And thereafter it would have escalated and cascaded to a major war if we had done it. So what I want to say is, we have the professionalism of the Indian military which can ensure national security, security of every citizen in our country, so that he or she continues, aspires and achieves his or her goals. Yeah. Now, that's what we are here today. We have a new Prime Minister, a dynamic man, and with a huge majority supported by such a huge population, and we have to have faith and trust in him so that our nation achieves its greatness. Thank you. Jai Hind. If there are any questions, I can take if there is any time. Are there any questions? It is siesta time. Thank you very much.